Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. Always trust your gut. Rant. Posted this over at r/dead bedrooms about a month ago. And spoiler alert. She moved in with the Mark in this story and is now publicly dating or whatever you want to call it a month after the split. Divorce filing and all that is in process. Always trust your gut. In my case it was spot on. I have been lurking here on this subreddit for the past year, reading and learning and trying to make some sense of my marriage. And now that things are ending, I figured I'd tell my story. Writing this out to complete strangers on the internet might make me feel better. I'm 36 HLM, she is a 34 LLF. In hindsight she is really LLFU, but there is also a medical aspect to it. Anyhow, married 3 years together for 5, both on our second marriage, no kids together but we each have our own kids from prior marriage. Like many here, things were pretty good up until COVID hit and jobs and life in general got a lot more stressful. To help manage that stress and anxiety, she was prescribed an SSRI which was slowly ramped up starting at the beginning of the pandemic. Sex was fine up until the point we were at least every other week, sometimes more, and all was okay until the full dose of the med was achieved and it started falling in frequency during the spring and early summer of 2020. Reading here, I of course found out it wasn't her fault with the meds. I researched the medication and we discussed our sex life together and we both noticed it wasn't what we liked. She consults the doc who keeps her on the medication and dose, with the advice of either skipping a dose the day before to up the libido or that I should romance her more, whatever that means. Okay, I do that already, but sure doc, I'll try harder. Then came last summer, and her friend's party that she went to alone because I was working. Well, at the party she meets a guy, we will call him Mark for this story. Sorry innocent Marks. Anyway, she makes a new friend in Mark and that's cool. I have no issues with my wife having male friends, she has numerous male friends already, and I have numerous female friends, so all is fine with that. Except it is not fine, the sex is still dropping in frequency as the months go on and we end up into fall. Sex frequency dropping to once a month. If I'm lucky she accepts my initiation. I keep trying to romance her, buying her flowers, candy, presents, being the best husband I think I can. I try to initiate all the time, sending her flirty texts, doing nice things for her, hoping it will work. While that is going on, she is either too busy on social media, or talking on the phone with Mark, who I've noticed is starting to call her every night to talk about whatever they both did that day or a mutual friend's drama. That was the first red flag. Second red flag was waved on our anniversary. I spent the day with her and took her out to dinner and the whole 9 yards. It was a good day up until we were on the way home that night and Mark called to talk. Again. On our anniversary. I didn't say anything at the moment, she kept on talking while I took a shower. She had been excited and promised we would get some anniversary sex in. I get out of the shower and come into the bedroom and she's still on the phone with Mark. By that point I say, come on. Get off the phone please. And she tells Mark she has to go and take care of me because it's our anniversary night, in a joking manner, but it still left a bad taste in my mouth. Towards the end of the year she's still talking to Mark and we finally have our first big fight about all of it. And we have the talk for the first time. I tell her that it is making me uncomfortable and insecure with him calling every day while we still were having sex issues that haven't improved. I feel unattractive, insecure, and hurt, and that we need to work on things and she needs to put up some boundaries with Mark. After that fight she cools it down with Mark and starts actively working to at least find a happy medium in our sex life that we can both live with. Okay, awesome, I can accept that as long as she seems to be putting in the same amount of effort into our marriage as I am. We have a good first quarter of this year and I think we are out of the woods. I even invite Mark over for a party and attempt to be friendly for my wife's sake. Then May comes, and she gives up. Abruptly changes jobs to one that she is gone most weekend nights. And it seems she just stopped caring and started calling Mark again, now more than once a day. Sex is non-existent again. Cue second big fight and second talk about it. Except this time she tells me sex isn't important to me and sex isn't important in a marriage, which of course I reply it is important to me. And try to reason with her about the entire thing, telling her how I feel. If my spouse thinks something is important to her, it automatically should be important to me. Reasoning stage never works. June comes, and we aren't talking much. We take a pre-planned trip and things seem to be looking up, except for Mark, who is still calling and texting all day. She goes down to visit her friend and of course spends time with Mark. I am absolutely miserable to be around at this point. I'm fuming, upset, depressed, all of the above. Then fight number 3 happens, except this time she is accusing me of cheating on her, demanding to go through my phone and that I'm hiding something I'm not telling her. I finally blurt it out that I'm not happy with our marriage and am having a lot of doubts of it continuing, which of course hurts her, but it's the truth at that point. With 2 months of no sex and Mark constantly in the picture, I've had about enough. We continue on until the end of June, when I just can't get over the gut feeling I have. So I start snooping, and I pull up the phone bill. It turns out she has been calling Mark every single morning, lunch break, or on the ride home, and then later at night, either before I get home from work or after I'm asleep. On top of thousands and thousands of texts. Great. So then at night I pretend to go to sleep and crack a bedroom window open so I can hear her convo with Mark that night as she sits on the porch. She had told me that she was going down to a friend's house for other reasons, but her conversation with Mark is completely about what plans they have together that day, so she's straight up lying to me by this point about spending time with Mark. I finally confronted her on this, both the mountain of phone records and her plans with Mark I overheard. She actually messed up and texted he was listening to me instead of Mark. Whoops. During this conversation I tell her that I know what is going on, that she is having an emotional affair at best with Mark. Maybe I have no idea. And that she has to make a choice, either cut it off with Mark and save our marriage or we need a divorce. She denies everything, of course, just friends and all that, blames me for cheating again for whatever reason. The next day she packs up and goes down to spend the day with Mark and tells me that much. With plans to see him a lot more frequently now. I tell her she's made her choice and we are starting the process. I feel like a weight lifted off of me. Long story short, people change and it sucks. Trust your gut when something doesn't feel right. And keep on keeping on. Sorry to hear it, man. I've been in a similar situation myself. Nothing really makes it alright. The one thing you can at least rest on is that you stood up for yourself. At times it won't mean much, but in the long run hopefully it means everything. She is now Mark's problem until she gets bored of him, or him of her. File for divorce and get it done as quick as you can whilst she is still in a fair fog land. And the ghost her from your life for all eternity, and beyond. I can confirm, my gut also led me to the truth about my wife's affair. I knew something was off. Her vibe towards me was wrong. Her behavior changed, she started being gone from the house more often. She was just treating me weird and I knew she was cheating with her co-worker. Sure enough, I was right. And it sucks, but once you know, you feel good that you can trust yourself to figure things out. Really, you are a type with character. Without beginning or dancing the dance, choose me. I bet you that in a while, the illusion will run out. Hee. Typical in cheating women. Very similar situation, however instead of a Mark in my story it was a witch or a Mike, I don't know exactly. I just know there was someone. So another strike for her. Sorry to hear how she mistreated you. Glad you are getting out. What was going on with the kids she brought into the marriage? Was the kids being neglected with all her energy on Mark? Were you the one stuck with the babysitting duties while she went off cake eating? Since she has kids, I suspect Mark will ditch her when it gets real. What man wants a woman with kids and 2 divorces on her record? She is probably loads of fun when you are watching them. Be ready for her to come back weeping to reconcile. Mark is probably using her for a pump and dump. Yay, my thoughts exactly too. Although she's not normally the kind of person who admits to her faults and mistakes. No, the actual worst part of it was that she had her kid, older teen, in on the whole lied seems before I even knew. So did her kid go over to Mark? Man, her kid doing a cover-up for her. Must not be the first time. What was the gap in time between the end of her first marriage and when she met you? Yep, she's living at his house too. It's a pretty shitty situation all around there. And pretty long, about 7 years or so. A very unpopular doctor of psychology likes to say never ignore small signs of coming betrayal. My grandma used to say, sometimes the screwing you get isn't worth the screwing they give. The "he was listening to me" message made my stomach turn. It was like the strike to the gut to say she has zero intentions to stop seeing Mark, thus the marriage is over. You did everything you could, and I'm glad you went out on a high note. You communicated, you fought for your marriage, flowers, dinners, trips, yet she was ungrateful, and took it all in stride. No disrespect to you and the history you have with your now ex-wife, but Mark is getting no spring chicken here. She has somebody who has completely no disregard for anyone else's relationships, and he has somebody that will cheat on him as soon as the next guy whisks her off her feet, not the bedrock you want to be building your relationship on. Meanwhile, I know you're hurt, but eventually you'll see the rays of sunshine on the other side and will be able to laugh about when you did everything for your ungrateful ex-wife and got nothing in return. Use this energy to focus on the divorce proceedings, getting all your documents in order, and focusing on your mental, as well as, physical well-being. This chapter of your life is coming to a close. However, there's more life to live. You'll come out on the other side stronger and more aware of your preferences. Best of luck to you. Yay, when I got that message I immediately replied lol wrong dude dear, smiley face. It was like come on now, I'm not stupid, I know what's happening, drop the charade. She has yet to admit wrongdoing. Still tells me he's not your replacement while she lives in his house and goes on dates with him, posting it all over social media. Hence why I cut her out entirely on that aspect. As have all my loyal friends and family. If anything, this experience has taught me that she is an extremely selfish and disrespectful person. I was trying to hold the marriage together for a long time by myself. I'm already seeing the sunshine. Renovating my house at the moment. And more than one female friend in my life has already expressed some interest in me even after knowing the entire story. After almost a year of zero interest from the STBXW, attention like that is awesome. Definitely not looking for anything serious though. Story 2. Wife left me after 2 years of reconciliation saying I'm not good enough for her. Need support. This is my new account. I was previously a member of r/us and after infidelity, also posted on this sub right after I found out almost 3 years ago. I feel like a loser. A pathetic excuse for a man. When I found out about her affair, she didn't want anyone else, she was all in for reconciliation. Did all the things that WS needed to do for reconciliation. We went to MC and she went to IC. We were also good parents to children. Her affair went on for 7 to 8 months, but I tried to work through it and she also supported me. Now, she met another guy a few months back and now she is saying she cannot live with a man like me. She says I am too weak to handle a wife like her, said she felt she wasted 2 years with a doormat like me and it was like a living hell for her. She is now moving in with the other man next month or so, but is temporarily staying with him with some of her baggage. I'm left here with my kids sleeping in the other room and myself to deal with my emotions. I want to die, but I'm not taking such a step. I don't know the reason why I'm writing this. I'm tired and I will probably just go back to sleep, but wanted to thank you people on this sub for giving me the right advice I must have followed after D-Day. Instead I did the opposite and now left alone with my pain and suffering. TBH, she sounds like a sociopath. And by getting angry at you is masking her guilt. And not having to acknowledge she's a serial cheater. You tried. You really did. You reached out and you did the compassionate thing where you tried to see the good in someone and forgive them. In an ideal world that would have been enough. But because she's selfish and seems to have a rather overinflated opinion of herself, she equated kindness with weakness. And probably her own guilt was still there. I reckon the reconciliation was one part her trying and another part her prior affair fizzing out. And sadly she used you as a stopgap. Now she's being aggressive to push herself out and convince herself she's a strong woman who can dictate etc. I'd say the same about a man who won't be tied down. She's shown her true colors, so try to take a silver lining here. She is awful and you, once you're able to push past the grief, can forge that into anger. It's fecking hard, but don't let her dictate. She wants a strong guy. Try to go cold. Don't move out of your bedroom. While she's out, chuck her things into bags and move them out of the main bedroom. Toss her toiletries. Take down pictures. Be proactive. Try to seize the initiative for yourself. Don't wallow in self-pity if you can help it, because then you will lose the fight. Turn that love to hate if you have to. She didn't waste her time. She wasted yours. You were the one who forgave and tried to be the bigger person. You were strong. And she took that faith and dumped on it. Closure ain't happening, there's nothing neat here. Now it's coldness and you cutting that cancer away from your soul. For you and for your kids. She wants to be the new M's Universe at the local glory hole. She can go be a winner. You are a rock. Dependable. Solid. And ducking heavy when it rolls over people. Kind people are the worst to push too far. You know you can do it. I know you're probably scared too. But dig into that emotion of anger. Turn that grief into a weapon and give her what she wants. Because I bet as soon as you become less than agreeable she will go ape. The luster will wear off with this new app. If he is a manly man, I bet she will find herself as one of his side pieces before long while he finds something new. Then she'll be a single parent in an apartment trying to date without a convenient safety net. You will win in the end because she is a shell. She is empty. She is living in a fantasy world of her own creation. She will someday have to face up to what she is and does. Hell, she probably already is, which is why she's being so forceful. She has to be, or else she has to acknowledge she's a lying, sneaky backstabber with no tangible loyalty. She could have left nicely. Could have said she didn't love you and now realizes her motivations. She could have been gentle and at least gracious. But she's tried to destroy you. She's a monster and doesn't deserve your tears. Exactly. Well said. No, go talk to an attorney and make sure to keep you and your kids' interests in mind as you figure out how to deal with her going forward. Perhaps limit communications to things related to raising the kids and not anything else. Then, when this new guy gets thrown to the side, do not be the one to be there to pick her up. Instead, figure out how you want to live your life with your kids and go do that. Have fun. Teach and show your kids all the stuff you think is cool and awesome. Just be yourself and do not think about her at all. Enjoy your life. Others will notice. There will be other women that are more worthy of your love. When they show up in your life, take a chance and get to know them. Your great life partner is still out there. Story 3. G27, left me, M32, for another man, M59. Basic info: we'd been together 8 years. We met at university, she was a year behind me, and have a shared mortgage. I moved to her hometown after she graduated, so the house isn't near my friends and family. I basically moved here for her. At the start of this year we'd agreed we wanted a baby, and we were both working towards that. She has been in touch, through texts etc., with M59, her old driving instructor, since around 2018, despite both me and her mother trying to show her it was creepy. Okay, so this is a weird one. I'm not sure where I went wrong here and it's killing me, but maybe an outside perspective could help. We had an argument 3 weeks ago, Whilst on holiday, 2707, I asked her to upload a photo on my phone to Pinterest since I didn't know how, and she saw a few pictures of other women, nothing pornographic, literally like a FB photo. She freaked out, and eventually I had to drive her to a train station since she was adamant she didn't want to stay. When she got home, she texted me to say don't come back for a bit as she needed time to think. I thought I'd give her some space and time, then go back on weekend. I went back on the Sunday, 0108, and we talked, during which she said she didn't love me anymore and wanted to take the mortgage on herself. Then on Monday 0208, we had another chat in which she promised me she'd give us a chance. When I drove off and parked up at hotel, she phoned me and broke things off. After 8 years, over the phone. Flash forward a couple of weeks, we'd decided I'd take over the mortgage. She can't afford it on her wage but I can, and she'd move in with her parents. Then last Wednesday, 1108, we had a talk. There were tears etc, and she asked me if there was a chance we could be friends after this, maybe even a chance at trying again. I replied I couldn't rule it out, but we need work, counseling and stuff. Then, after asking me all that, she told me she had cheated on me with M59 and had been staying at his house while away from me. Turns out that when she got back on the Tuesday, 2707, she stayed at a friend's for a few days and then went to his on the Friday, 3007. According to her, up until she came clean she'd been round his pretty much all the time. Then her parents came round and she told them, and they kicked her out. And guess where she went? He had been texting her more and more for months, and she had emotionally and physically lost touch with me. But she never said anything, and despite all efforts she just wasn't bothered with us anymore. The worst bit for me is the loneliness. And the thought of her with him. I'm 6'2", muscular, and he's a fat, red-faced old man. I just don't understand. I'm trying to move on but the thought of it makes me sick. You'll never trust her again. Don't waste your time trying to work on this as she's proven she's not even remotely trustworthy. Remove her from your life as quickly as you can. Best wishes my dude, I sympathize for the pain you're going through. Breakups suck. She was always in contact with him and you literally saved yourself from more drama. Don't stay in touch with her at all. She might come back if the things with the other guy doesn't work out. You deserve so much better. It will be difficult at start but everything will work out. Thank you. Even if she does I wouldn't consider it, mentally I couldn't live with what has happened. She's broken, consider this a bullet dodged. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night. Wherever you are,